Oh. ships and ours would have the same big lineage. The ship's crew sacrificed their lives. Cities kept rebalancing halted full-scale invasion and by extension, the entire Federation. What better way to honor it than renaming it? It's now the Enterprise D, which is kind of but there's always something specific here with optimistic. Overall, this is the best season of any Trek show. It certainly isn't perfect, but I think it's a much better send-off than that. The fan service was a bit much time, but it was a sincere effort from Apollo to honor the franchise's children, which included a reminder of the names of all Starfleet officers and ships in space. I'd like to thank you for the support channel. Subscribe to help this channel support Destiny, the nice popular channel about Star Trek Starship. Alright, that's all from me. Until next time.
Across the great region of East Tennessee, Knoxville TVA Employees Credit Union is here for you. From game day.
In the TNG episode Relic, Scotty crosses over into the next generation after spending the first 70 years of his retirement stuck inside a transporter aboard Zyxx, USS Jenolan. This ship is yet another example of the Star Trek Art Department being resourceful and designing a new ship with minimal resources. This thing in one form or another has appeared on screen more times than you might think. Here we'll get to all that background info, how it's quietly appeared several times throughout the franchise, and the changes that it underwent with each iteration. There's also a bunch of other nonsense crammed in here, like how Scotty sounds in the data impression. It won't disappoint. If you like the video, the best way to support the channel is by subscribing. Drop a like too if you think it's worth it. Okay, fair enough. Spock may have Star Trek's most famous ears, but we can't forget about the engineers. This is Scotty's new ship. So, what were the events leading up to Relic? We last saw Captain Montgomery Scott in Star Trek VI, where he was headed out on his final mission to the TOS crew. Kirk, Spock, Bones, this guy, stuff happened. Then he did a Mr. Kool-Aid through a door. Yeah! It helped thwart the assassination of the Federation president. A few years after that, he was aboard the USS Jenolan en route to his retirement home. The ship comes across an uncharted structure, accidentally triggers its docking procedure, which blows out their engine. The structure's gravity pulls down the Jenolan. Everyone perishes except for Scotty and Franklin. We never see him, but word has it he gets left. With minimal life support and irrational, they rig a system where they beam themselves into a repeating cycle with the hope of being rescued one day. This is the Jenolan's introduction, though the story of the ship didn't start here. It started with a visual effects artist. Just felt like making something. In Star Trek VI, we get this shot of a transport shuttle flying towards Space Dock. It's called SC-103. You can hear its name in the background communication audio.
SC-103 approaches Space Dock.
This is the only time it appears in the movies. Usually, an existing shuttlecraft model would be used in a situation like this. There were certainly a few existing models they could have used. Why spend any time or money on a new model for a shot that only lasts 3 seconds when you have perfectly good ones lying around? As luck would have it, Star Trek VI was pretty light on new models. All the major ships that appeared in the movie were existing then. Space Dock, Battle Cruiser, Bird of Prey, Excelsior, Enterprise, they were all already built. For this single shot of a shuttle headed towards Space Dock, ILM took it upon themselves to throw together a brand new model. The film's visual effects art director, Bill George, designed and constructed a 16-inch model over the course of a week. and fellow model maker John Gibson designed and constructed a new shuttle over the course of a week. It ended up being about 16.5 inches long, 11 inches wide, and 4 inches tall. Though the model was mostly constructed from scratch, they did use some existing model parts to embellish it. This included the Enterprise wings themselves. They were painted silver and turned backwards and stuck down here. On the main hull, the curved sides extend past the front and rear of the ship. This is a nod to the O2 TOS shuttlecraft. The model turned out so well that they decided to build 2 more, albeit tiny ones, and stuck them down here on these healthier. And here's a better shot of them. You can see them tucked away, upside down, and in this looking well. This brings us to the episode Relic, produced roughly a year after the end of Discovery Country. The script called for a crashed Starfleet transport vessel, and the SC-103 fit the bill. In order to make it appear as a more substantial starship, the model was given a pair of warp nacelles and a bridge module taken from a commercially available model set. This is what's called kit bashing, when parts of various model sets are put together to make a new ship, and not to be confused with kit bashing.
Because I don't want to hear another peep out of you until I can get a call off to Devin. It's a clam up.
The Genoan's hull was also embellished with windows to make the ship appear larger than the SC-103. They also stuck a bunch of random stuff on it to make the ship appear smaller than something like the Enterprise. According to the official Star Trek Starship Collection, the SC-103 was about 26 meters in length. The Genoan was about 235 meters, which is about the same as a Miranda-class ship. In case you're the type of person who lies awake in bed at night wondering about stuff like this. And just for you, here's the Enterprise. Now go ahead and get some sleep. It's labeled USS Genoan, NCC 2010. It's named after the Genoan Cave, a Fiji cave system outside of Sydney, Australia. Sydney, by the way, is also the name of this class of ship. Genoan is misspelled on the model, Jenolin, but who's really going to catch that back in 1992? By this point, the ship has crashed on the outer surface of the Dyson Sphere for 75 years. When Scotty finds out it's saved by the Enterprise, he wonders if Captain Kirk had decommissioned the Enterprise A and rescued him.
The Enterprise? I should have known. I bet Jim Kirk himself called the old gal out of mothballs to come looking for me.
Like that would happen. The crash of the Genoan would have taken place after the events of Generation, where Scotty is there when Kirk dies. Captain Kirk, sleep, Spock. So with Kirk dead, why would Scotty even think that he would be the one to come rescue him? Clearly, you can chalk this one up to, and let's just be real here. This episode being written before Generation was.
Wake up a while every day and you can too. Just remember, excitement results stay there. Right now, during our Memorial Day sales event, we'll pay your sales tax on all World Cup match or get a queue for the price of a queen on all Canisius matches.
Don't want to get behind an AI? You're in luck. Season 4 of the Talking AI podcast is almost here. If you want to learn AI from top experts and early adopters, you need to go subscribe right now. Seriously, go do it. We have guests from AI startups, enterprise AI leaders, and top voices in AI already lined up. Plus a few bonus episodes with our CTO, Omar Shanti, to deep dive into specific topics, tools, and examples. While you wait for Season 4, go ahead and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform so you don't miss an episode and get ready to talk some AI.
The model would be put to use again on Deep Space Nine. Early in the series development, the Genoan model was considered to be repurposed and used as runabouts for the show. They later decided to design a completely new vessel, but they still used the SC-103 as a starting point. You can see its influence with this early concept art. Recall how the hull extends past the windows? That design characteristic is here. The concept also used the same wedge profile and overall size. So of course, this would eventually morph into the runabouts we all know from the show. I have a video solely on runabouts if you want to hear more about that. However, despite being rejected as the runabout, the Genoa model will find its way to DS9. In Season 2, it appears as the USS Nash, which very talks to share back to the station. It only appeared in 2 brief shots, one of the ship arriving, and then one of the ship departing. So they ended up getting their money's worth out of these, as these shots would become stock footage for whenever some random ship would arrive at the station. This iteration of the ship is flipped upside down, which suggests that this is probably not the same class as Snowen. When put side by side with Defiant, they look like they could share clothes. You should probably shut the door now so that no one walks in on you comparing starship sizes. But here's the Defiant, here's Scotty's Genoan, and here's where this USS Nash variant might fit in. Weirdo. While DS9 would be the final appearance of a physical model, the SC-103 would appear about a year later in Star Trek Generations. At the very beginning of the movie, a tiny version of it is used on the Enterprise C dry dock model. It's indiscernible on screen, even when you zoom in and blow out the exposure. However, in this photo of the dry dock model, you can clearly see that you will every time watching the video. You can also see a tiny SC-103. Okay, quick tangent about the other model in the shot. This dry dock model is moderately different from the one seen launching the Deep Space Enterprise in Star Trek Motion Picture. That was some 15 years earlier. Well, this model is actually the same one. It appears they added a section down the center top to widen it. This makes sense within the narrative, since the Enterprise D is much wider than the Enterprise. They also removed the middle row of the side frame, so it's just the 2 angled rows, and this helped better frame the Enterprise D's shorter profile. So yeah, I hope that helps in your journey of amassing useless knowledge. Getting back to the SC-103, it appears again at the end of the movie. In case Generations has faded from your mind, the Enterprise D saucer crash landed on the planet at some point during the movie and kicked up a bunch of green dirt. At the end of the movie, when the rescue ships arrive, the SC-103 is one of the shuttles taken down to the surface. There are a couple visible. This flyby shot of the shuttle is actually an alternate take from Star Trek VI. Since by this point, the physical models had already been heavily altered, the only way to use the SC-103 was to use old footage. If you look closely, you can still see the silver Enterprise themselves on the bottom. There's also a matching version of the ship parked on the hull near the main shuttle bay. Outward appearances are important and all, but what really matters is what's inside. In the case of the Genoan, it's a multi-purpose room that combines the bridge, engineering, and the transporter room. It stays dim for most of the episodes, which helps hide its hodgepodge design. It's usually shot tight to show as little as possible. Here's the widest shot provided in the episode. The transporter is up here, engineering is over there, and the bridge is back there minding its own business. Nothing wrong with being efficient with your living space. It's safe to assume that this was done for storytelling convenience and budgetary constraints. This episode seems pretty expensive as is, with James Suhan's salary, the new Dyson Sphere model and VFX, the Genoan model alterations, and the partial reconstruction of the original Enterprise bridge. As far as its multi-purpose room, he spent some time there when Scotty's rescued. When the Genoan crashed, he and the only other survivor, Franklin, devised a plan to dematerialize themselves and set the transporter to loop indefinitely. Unfortunately, after 75 years, Franklin's pattern degraded to where it couldn't be brought back. Scotty, on the other hand, was A-okay. I mean, on one hand, he was A-okay, because on the other, it appears he lost a finger. James Suhan lost his third finger in World War II. Anyway, here's where that missing finger became canon for Scotty. The only other interior of the ship that we see is this corridor wall when the ship is docked at DS9. It's just an unassuming corridor that evidently has a door that exits directly into the ship. As mentioned at the beginning of this video, James Suhan's data impression is something every Star Trek fan must hear. An audiobook of Relic was made and was narrated by Scotty himself. He's no stranger to voice work, as he provided many of the voices for the animated series back in the 1970s. Anyway, here we go.
Riker turned to the android second officer, hoping for more information. Mr. Data? Commander, there are no stellar bodies listed at these coordinates in our charts. However, sensor readings indicate the presence of an extremely strong gravitational force in this vicinity. It is directly ahead. It now appeared as round and smooth as a billiard ball. Sensor, I am having difficulty scanning the object. However, it would appear to be at least 200 million kilometers in diameter.
It's safe to assume that James Buchan didn't know anything about data going into this recording session. The sound engineers in the studio who could have said something, but decided not to. In 2006, this model was among many that were auctioned off. It went for over 26 grand. Comparatively, the Runabout model, which was used way more and a lot more recognizable, auctioned off for 33 grand. For everyone that's supported the channel over on Patreon, I know I haven't put out much content over the past couple years, and I'd like to make up for it. I've posted a message over there with all the details. You can head over there to check it out. Thank you for your generosity and support over the years. I've set up a new Patreon page that only accepts contributions on a per video basis. If that's something you'd like to do, thank you, and the link is in the description. For everyone, I'll do my best to continue putting out new content. The channel may slow down, but it won't go away. With that said, I will catch you in the next video.
The world is different. The way we do things is different. It's not just about keeping up. It's about leading, innovating, creating, making the future the present. Eclipse Automation, part of Accenture, is a full solution automation provider with the know-how and global capacity to accelerate your transportation needs throughout the entire journey. Today's automotive industry is in a state of constant evolution, with rapid advancements towards a more sustainable future with electric, hybrid, and hydrogen fuel cell vehicles. Eclipse Automation leverages decades of experience in the automotive industry, along with a culture of innovation to assist our clients in developing new automated processes. Our total vertical integration elevates us to the cloud, with full in-house control of all processes, from concept to installation, ensuring the highest quality standards and faster speed to market for every customer. Access to real-time data throughout your automotive manufacturing operations is crucial. This data provides many advantages, from enhanced product traceability, operation performance visibility, and the ability to react faster to changing demand. Eclipse offers a global bench strength with experience in the key processes to design, build, integrate, install, and service end-to-end solutions for all your transportation needs. Let us and our know-how to work for you. Contact us today, and together, let's design and build the future. Eclipse Automation, part of Accenture. EclipseAutomation.com.
Ja, eigentlich legal in Carolina. Leute, illegal ist doch was für viele.
The Star Trek Deep Space Nine Runabout. They serve that crucial role of getting characters off the space station and blowing up for dramatic effect. Here we'll take a deep dive into these things. We'll cover the story of its creation, from its precursors to its concept phase, and all the way through to its finished design. There's also a bunch of other stuff crammed in here, like toys and video games, because we may as well, since we're already going down this wormhole. If you like the video, I hope I earn your subscription by the end. There's dozens more like it on the channel. So, the Bajoran prophets that brought us together. Now let's get going. This is the Runabout Retrospective. There's a little story about how shuttlecraft even became part of Star Trek. Let's run through that to set the stage for Runabout. Shuttlecraft has been a part of the franchise since the very beginning. However, the original series came close to not even having shuttlecraft. The producers had wanted them for the series, but Desilu, production house, didn't consider them essential to the show, so they didn't pony up the money to build sets or miniatures. Along came AMC. They're the company that makes Star Trek model kits, and this is how that came to be. When they approached Desilu for the contract to make Star Trek models, a part of the deal was that they'd be the ones to cough up the money to construct the sets. And that's what happened. AMC paid the production costs, bring the shuttlecraft to the screen, and they got to sell these. This was fun. Anyway, back to Runabout. They slot somewhere between a shuttlecraft and a starship. If standard shuttlecrafts were cars, these would be the RVs of Starfleet. For a size comparison, they're about the length of a passenger train car. Height-wise, they're 5.4 meters, which makes them the exact height of something that's 5.4 meters. They accommodate up to a crew of 40. During the design phase, They were modular vessels with 3 separate sections that could be swapped out depending on the needs of the mission. We'll get into that in more detail in a few minutes. Runabouts lived inside elevating landing pads in DS9's inner ring and were commissioned in 2368. They made their debut in the first episode of DS9. From there, they appeared in every episode of DS9, you can count them as swoosh, bye-bye. They also appeared once on The Next Generation, and most recently on Lower Decks. There were at least 15 assigned DS9, all of which were named after Earth rivers. Overall, they were a jack of all trades. If they could do one thing particularly well, though, it was blowing up.
Come fly with me, come fly away. If you feel excited, far someday, come fly with me, come fly away. Come fly with me, let's take off the road.
You know, the rate we go through runabouts is good thing we got that filling system.
The runabout's history can be traced to this transport shuttle in Star Trek VI, referred to as SE-103. That model was later modified to be the USS Genolan in the episode Relic, where Scotty is found alive after being suspended in a transporter loop for a few decades. What does all this have to do with runabouts? At one point during the development of Deep Space Nine, the Genolan model was considered to become the runabout. Eventually, this idea was dropped, but not before its shape and design keys were used as a starting point for the design of what would eventually become the runabout. The basic concept all along was to create a class of vessel somewhere between a shuttle and a starship. Star Trek artist Rick Sternbach and Jim Martin handled the development of the design. Sternbach is probably best known for designing the USS Voyager, and Martin's most notable contribution is USS Defiance. One of the first design elements finalized were the front cockpit windows. This provided a scale reference for how large the ship would be. Among other things, this was important because the interior sets were scheduled to be completed before the model construction. In this concept, it follows the design keys of the SE-103 very closely with how the sides flank the cockpit windows. In another concept drawing, the module resembles the module used on the Nebula-class ship. That design element was inspired by the airborne warning and control system pods used on actual military aircraft. Like mentioned earlier, this module would make it all the way to the final design as an optional piece. Here you can see that at one point they considered putting a deflector array on it. From this concept, you can see the design moving away from the SE-103 and closer to what we eventually saw on screen. At this point, these themselves are very similar to the type seen on the Type 6 shuttle, particularly the lack of design collectors in front. Remember this for later. Aside from the roll-bar module, the actual ship itself developed into something modular. The forward section would always be a cockpit, so it could also serve as an escape pod if necessary, which it never was. When it came time for the model, producers turned to Brazil Fabrication and Design, the same group who constructed the DS9 model. They went with the same full color as the Enterprise D, which had the added benefit of contrasting with the bronze color of DS9. It was approximately 18 inches front to back, which is about the same size as this. And this would be the only model to ship for the first 6 seasons of the show. The runabout had a companion model as well. It was the docking bay platform located on DS9's inner ring. For the launch sequence, the runabout model, the docking bay, and the full-size DS9 model were composited to create these flips. A second physical model was constructed much later in Season 6 for the episode One Little Ship. It's the episode where a runabout gets shrunk by a spatial anomaly. This tiny model is only 6 inches long. Another new model was constructed in Season 6. This time a CG one for the episode Change of Heart. The script called for a runabout flying through an asteroid field. practical model would have taken weeks to do. So constructing a new model only made sense. From here on out, all new runabout shops would utilize this new model. So stock footage of the original physical model would still appear. In the first episode of DS9, we get to see the detailed boarding process. We see Jack and Cisco exit with the circular DS9 doors behind them, then board the runabout. Here's another instance of great attention to detail with both the outer and inner doors of the runabout. Well, here we are talking about unappreciated doors. Where do we go from here? In DS9, when they couldn't think of an end to a scene, they just plug in some new cliffhanger and cut the commercial. Will these doors ever be seen again?
Traveler. How will clock survey? Oh, Dr. Deep Space Nine action. Commander Beck, Cisco. He must be on the station. And security chief Odo, very strict and sticky for someone so honest. Is Lieutenant Dax, Chief O'Brien, Major Kieran, and Reese. Emotions crazy. Oh, man, wonderful, aren't they? Especially this so handsome. Thank you to probably get them bringing out that security. What if I really died?
Yeah, 3 more times. So with the interior, we mainly saw the cockpit, which had 4 workstations facing forward and 2 more on the side. Behind the workstation was a transporter pad and a food replicator. The runabout cockpit that was renovated for the Dominion War. The transporter and replicator were moved farther back to accommodate additional workstations. The app module sometimes featured living quarters. The first time we see this is actually on the Next Generation in the episode Timescape. This worked out well since the construction cost came from the TNG budget, which was much higher than DS9. Basically, DS9 got a free set out of it. There's some more great attention to detail with the windows. Not just to the back, but along the sides, which match up with these windows in the model. So the set designer really nailed this one. A full-size exterior runabout set was secured as well. When this one crash lands on the planet, you see the port side escape hatch unit. There's no spot for an escape hatch. There's a door right here. From the look of it, this is the finished design of the runabout. The only thing that stands out is this nacelle. As you can see, it's not the same nacelle that's featured on the model. This one looks like it comes from the June 1992 concept art, but this was the 13th episode filmed for season 1. So by this point, all the runabout design would have been finalized. It's likely it's cheaper to use an existing nacelle prop than build a new one for this one-time use. This nacelle is the same one that's used on a few of the Next Generation shuttlecraft. Like many Star Trek sets, the runabout cockpit set was redressed at other locations a few times. In the season 3 episode Through the Looking Glass, which takes place in the Mirror universe, the cockpit set was redressed to portray that of a Terran fighter. It's a fairly heavy redress with some ward panels referred to the side windows and dark trim added throughout. In the opening scene of Voyager's premiere episode, where the monster raider is invading the Cardassian cruiser, the set serves as the raider's cockpit. A few set dressing pieces were added to the walls, but otherwise it's the runabout cockpit without much added. The set was again in the Voyager episode Non Sequitur, which takes place in an alternate timeline where Harry Kim was never on Voyager when it was thrown into the Delta Quadrant. In this timeline, Harry Kim modified a runabout with a new warp drive system. It's a Yellowstone class ship named USS Yellowstone. The interior and exterior sets are exactly the same as Candy class, no changes. There's a random connection with USS Nolan here. When Harry Kim and Tom Paris are stealing the Yellowstone from the space dock, the space dock doors are a reuse of the dice secure doors from the episode Relic that featured USS Genoa. This set was heavily redressed and modified for Star Trek Insurrection in 1998. The forward windows were reshaped, and smaller windows were added on the sides. The side windows farther back on runabouts were replaced with displays. The panels were also slightly modified with new graphics. The runabout interior sets were housed in Paramount Studios Stage 18, which are where the USS Defiant sets were as well. This stage would later be used for the NX-01's interior set and even used for the 2009 Star Trek movie. Deep Space Nine had a few video games, and runabouts were featured in those as well. They appeared in 1995's Crossroads of Time, released on the Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis, or Mega Drive as seen in American Engineer things. The game has a whole stage dedicated to it where you fly through the wormhole. The idea is to avoid touching these energy waves. The wormhole interior looks like it does on the show, and overall the graphics are pretty good for the time. The Harbinger from 1996. You get an FMV of the cockpit, then the first stage of the game has you fixing something so that the runabout doesn't blow up. Yeah, good luck with that. I also got a toy line that included a runabout vehicle. For the most part, it's exactly as it appears in the show. The front windows are in a weird spot though. It's so that they match the eyeline of the figure inside. And just like the show, there's also a compartment in the rear for another figure or whatever else reference back to the Starship. That's the video. I hope you liked it. For subscribing, it helps the channel achieve its goal of being the ninth most popular Star Trek channel about Starship. Great. I'd like to thank you for supporting the channel. I really appreciate it. I'll catch you in the next video.
Unlike in the kitchen, I'm done starting from scratch with how I run the business. After trying countless tools, I finally found the one. QuickBooks. I like nice and spicy.
In the Star Trek The Next Generation episode Pegasus, the USS Grissom model from Star Trek 3 was reused as USS Pegasus. That wasn't always going to be the case, though. At least two other options were considered before ultimately going with the Oberth class for the Pegasus. This was due to budget constraints. The episode was already expensive with all the new effect shots they needed, like all the shots of the Enterprise flying through the asteroid field. Ultimately, that meant missing out on a Starship class that slots perfectly into Starfleet's pattern of Starship design. If random obscure Star Trek stuff is your sort of thing, subscribing is the best way to support the channel.